If you've been inspired to start a podcast in 2024, I really recommend my podcast host, Captivate. Captivate were my top pick when I started podcasting 4 years ago because of how easy it was for a complete novice like me to get started. I've stuck with them for the last 4 years because Captivate is still really simple to use. They keep adding great new features like the ability to share ads like these, and they've just been really reliable. So when you're ready to start your own podcast, you can use the link in the show notes and get a free 7-day trial with Captivate. Welcome to the Bring Your Product Idea to Life podcast. This is the podcast for you if you're getting started selling products or if you'd like to create your own product to sell. I'm Vicky Weinberg, a product creation coach and Amazon expert. Every week, I share friendly, practical advice as well as inspirational stories from small businesses. Let's get started. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Bring Your Product Idea to Life. So today I want to talk about why selling on Amazon is so hard and what actually we can do about it. Because selling on Amazon, as you may know, can feel far harder than it should for lots of reasons. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's not because you're not capable. It's not because you don't know what you're doing. Even if you don't know what you're doing, I promise the issue is still not you, because you should be able to know what you're doing. It should be an easier problem. It should be an easier place to navigate, but unfortunately it's not. It's a problem, hence a slip up with words there. But most of selling on Amazon is complicated, it's unclear, and it's unnecessarily difficult. And when you're trying to run a business at the same time, because Amazon won't be all you're doing, I think it can quickly become a bit overwhelming. And so in this episode, I want to talk honestly about why it feels like that, and then more importantly, what actually helps. So in terms of why Amazon feels harder than it should, in my last solo episode, which is a few weeks ago, I spoke about why Amazon Seller Central feels and is really hard to navigate. So things like how the platform is old and it just hasn't really been updated. It's just been added to over time, how it was built for experienced sellers and instructions aren't always clear. And as an aside, there's also no training, is there? There is Amazon Seller University. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. I don't know if you've used it, how useful you found it. And actually it's slowly being phased out. So that's completely gone. And for a lot of other reasons as well. A lot of Amazon doesn't really make sense. I went into much more detail about all of this in the last episode, so I won't go over it again. And if you'd like to listen to that episode, I will link to it in the show notes. That was episode 336, why selling on Amazon feels overwhelming. So that might be one to listen to if you want to know why Amazon is what it is and some of my best tips for dealing with the platform and how to make the most of it. So let's now talk a little bit about another part of the problem, which I think is doing it alone. Because lots of the Amazon sellers I work with they're working on their own, so they don't have a team, or if they do have a team, they often don't have someone in that team whose sole role is Amazon, or they maybe don't have someone who has experience of Amazon. So everyone's learning together. And as I've said, Amazon is a really, really hard platform to learn. But if you're in this situation, so if it's just you, or even if it's a group of you, but you don't really have much experience or knowledge about Amazon, it can be really hard not to have anyone to sanity check things with. It can be really hard when you don't know if something is normal or not. And you can spend a lot of time and energy trying to work things out, troubleshooting when things go wrong, trying to get answers from seller support if you need help with something. It can all just drain your time and energy. And then there's the inconsistencies as well. I actually recorded a video about this earlier today because this is something I see a lot, is that things just don't work consistently. So you might change the product images on all of your products, for example, and on some SKUs, these image updates go through immediately. And on some SKUs, you might have to wait a couple of days, or on some, they might not go through at all. And you have to contact seller support and ask for your images to be updated. That makes no sense. I also did some work for a client last week where I was setting up variations for them. And what happened is I set up some and it was fine. For others, it didn't like me using the SKUs, even though the SKUs were in the system already. Basically, I was doing something that I've done so many times, and I was setting up maybe 3 different variations from existing products, and every single one I had to do a different method because the same thing wasn't working. And that makes no sense. And I know what I'm doing. If you are less familiar with Amazon, maybe you haven't been using it so long, you might not know the different ways of doing things, and why would you? But also that can really confuse you, and it can have you second guessing yourself, which I just don't think is very fair. Plus, on top of all of that, you don't know what you don't know. So I often work with brands who have the same issues, but for each of them, it feels really big and scary, because for them, it's like it's the first time it's happening. This can feel like really insurmountable, like, oh my gosh, am I in trouble? What's happening? Because you just don't know if it's normal. And if you don't know if it's normal and you don't know how to fix it and how long it can take, that just takes so much time and mental energy. So the brands that I'm thinking of, I worked with two at the moment, and both of them have had listings suppressed for various reasons. I know, because I've got a lot of experience in this, I know how we can get the listings reactivated. I know roughly how long it's going to take. I know the kind of things to send to seller support. I know what they're going to be asked for. So I'm able to say to them in advance, okay, if you can send me over this now, I can get this done a lot quicker. But if you don't know that, and why would you unless it's happened, it can feel really, really scary. And this is what I'm trying to prevent, really. So let's talk about some of the things that actually help. So at the moment, I don't know if you have issues on Amazon, where are you going? Because I think a lot of people are going to Google. I know when I first started selling on Amazon, that was 10 years ago now, I spent so much time on Google, like looking up every single thing. And there was some good content out there, and there was some not so good content out there. And also YouTube as well. I spent a lot of time on YouTube. But if you don't, you could be doing that. You might be guessing, you might be using trial and error, trying to figure things out. You might be waiting weeks to get a decent answer from seller support, or not, as the case may be. And I think that what would be most beneficial is to just get a straight answer to whatever you need to do and move forward. Now, I know this isn't possible with Amazon seller support, because that isn't the way it often goes. But I think just having the clarity of, okay, this is what I need to do, I can go and do it now, and it's fixed, just saves you so much time and mental energy. And ideally, I think having someone to ask regularly rather than one-off help is useful. So I offer selling on Amazon Power Hours, which are really great. If you need one, by the way, please book one. They're really good. I can answer your questions. We can do training. I can show you how things work. There's a lot we can do in an hour. However, I'm also aware that Amazon isn't a one-time thing, because things change consistently. So just this week, I've seen some new things appear on the Seller Central dashboard. So the way advertising looks has changed. Amazon are making some changes to reviews at the moment. Some of the policies change, some of the compliance. There's some new compliance legislation coming in for various categories. And so it's so often a one-off thing isn't what you need. Or you might have a quick question, but you might not want to book an hour with me to go over one smallish issue. And something I find a lot actually is people save them up. So I have a power hour with someone and they save up and come with a list, which is brilliant, by the way, and you're very welcome to do that. But wouldn't it be nice if some of those things could have got solved a little bit faster? Because I do think that having ongoing support whenever you need it just makes things feel more manageable. And the other thing that I think helps is being around other people that are doing the same thing. I think this is really big, because when you're speaking to other people who sell on Amazon, you realise that some of the issues you're having are normal, which I think is really useful. You can learn from each other, which means you can learn a bit faster. You feel less alone, because there is that thing, isn't there, of, oh my gosh, this is happening to me. Does this ever happen to anyone else? I actually get asked that quite a lot by clients. They'll say to me, oh, have you ever seen this before? And 9 times out of 10 I have, because you just want a bit of reassurance that it's not just you. And also you get ideas for things that you wouldn't have thought of. I mean, I learn a lot from working in different Amazon accounts all the time. And I definitely work with brands and I think, oh, you're doing something similar, so you could share with this person how you're doing that. And I think there's just so much benefit from learning from each other. Like I say, I work in different Amazon accounts all day, but I definitely haven't seen it all. And there's something really nice about learning from someone who's doing the same thing as you at the same time. I mean, it's always nice to know you're not alone, isn't it? And that is why I have created something new this year, because for all of these reasons, I wanted to create a space where Amazon sellers can ask questions regularly, get ongoing support, learn from each other, and stop trying to figure out everything alone. If you know me, you might know that two things that are really important to me are community and connections. I love speaking to people. I love getting to know people. I love interviewing people for this podcast, and I love connecting people. I absolutely love it when someone says, do you know someone who does X? And I can say, oh, yes, I do. Or I can suggest, oh, have you spoke to this person because they've done something similar to you? I absolutely love that. And this year, I decided that I really want to do something about it. So if you're listening to this episode in real time, this week I ran my first call, which was called Amazon Sellers Support and Connect, with the goal of getting Amazon sellers together. This is something I really want to do regularly. So it's a free call, it's an hour, little update from me. All Amazon sellers or people who want to sell on Amazon on the call can ask questions, talk to each other, talk to me. I'm sure this will evolve as it goes forward, but it's something I really, really want to do. I will be doing it again. I'm convinced it's a good idea. The turnout suggested it was a good idea, and I think there is real power in coming together. So that's one thing I did. The other thing that I am doing is I am reopening my membership, Amazon Made Easy, with some changes. So you might remember I had a membership, which was still called Amazon Made Easy, in 2024, and that membership ran for, I want to say, about a year, 18 months, and then I decided to close it down for various reasons. So I'm going to reopen that membership, but I'm making it better because there were some things that I thought last time, I've had lots of time to reflect, and there are things I think I could definitely do differently. So first off, Q&A calls with me are now weekly. They used to be fortnightly, and I don't think that's enough. If you have a question you really need to ask, you do not want to be waiting 13 days potentially if you've just missed a call and you've got a question you want to ask me. So calls are going to be much, much more regular. Plus, if you need support in between, there's going to be a school community where you can post, you can ask questions to me, you can ask questions to other people in the community, and that's going to be there all the time. And it will be a community, so we're all going to be supporting each other. Yes, of course, I'm going to be in there to answer people's questions, but I hope that the members will support each other as well. Plus, I'll be including regular co-working sessions. So there's dedicated time to actually get some of the things we talk about done, because I will be teaching different ways we can optimize our listings, things we can do on our accounts, how we can check how we're doing. And also some of you might have your things you want to do yourself. Maybe you're just getting set up. Maybe you've got new products to add, whatever it is. I'm going to have co-working sessions. We've got some dedicated time where we can get together, just get things done. So I think this is ideal if you want affordable, ongoing help when you need it. So no waiting to book an hour with me, no creating a big list. You've just got access all the time to someone that can help you and just get you quicker answers. So if you're thinking, well, this sounds quite good, but is it for me? This might help you out. So I think Amazon Made Easy is a really good fit for you if you're already selling on Amazon or actively preparing to. So that's number one. If you're miles away from having a product ready, or you've just started selling somewhere else and you're still sort of testing the market, it might be a bit too early for you. But if you're there already, then absolutely great. It's also a really good fit for you if you want ongoing guidance without paying for a full account management. So I do work with brands on an ongoing basis where I'm in their account all the time, and there's various things that I do. So if that's the sort of support you'd like, but if you can't maybe afford that, or that's not quite right for you now. However, you would like someone to help keep you accountable, help share with you what you need to be doing, answer any questions, etc. This could be a really good fit. If you like taking action, asking questions when you're stuck, this is also great, because a big part of this membership will be access to me, being able to ask me for advice, for support, how to troubleshoot things whenever you need to. And if you want to feel more confident about the decisions you're making around what you're doing on Amazon, because again, you're going to be able to share all that with me and I'm going to be able to support you. I would say the membership won't be a good fit for you if you don't have a product yet. As I say, even if you think this is something you're interested in, hold off until you've got a product, it's selling well somewhere else and you're actively thinking about Amazon. Please come and join us then. I would love to have you. But if your product isn't ready yet, I'd say it's a little bit early. If you're looking for someone to do everything for you, so actually to manage your account, if you're looking for more hands-on services, this won't be the best fit. I do offer that, so you can speak to me separately. And if you're not ready to get involved and start taking action, whether that's getting set up on Amazon, whether that's optimizing what you have, whether that's growing your account, again, it might not be the place for you. If you are interested, however, after all of this, there'll be a link in the show notes for this episode to the page that will tell you everything about it. And I just want to close by saying, first of all, selling on Amazon doesn't have to be hard. I know I've spoken today about, and in the last episode, about the reasons that it is hard. And a lot of those are things that we can't actually impact. We can't actually do a lot about them. The system, the way it's set up, the support, all of it. However, this is my attempt to do something to make things easier so you're not doing it on your own anymore. And I really hope it's useful. If you have any questions about Amazon Made Easy, if you want to know if it's right for you, if you want to know more about what's included and it's not on the sales page, then of course you can contact me, Vicky at vickyweinberg.com. Ask any questions. I'll be really happy to help you. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again next week for another episode. Thank you so much for listening right to the end of this episode. Do remember that you can get the full back catalogue and lots of free resources on my website, vickyweinberg.com. Please do remember to rate and review this episode if you've enjoyed it, and also share it with a friend who you think might find it useful. Thank you again, and see you next week. Hi, this is just a little note. So if you've enjoyed this episode, or indeed any of the episodes, and you would like to, I don't know, buy me a coffee or something, you can actually now leave tips. So there's a link to how to do this in the show note. Of course, do not feel obliged to do this. This is a free podcast. This will always be a free podcast. But as I say, if you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that via the link in the show notes.